What if one small, well-studied molecule could help you preserve muscle as you age, sharpen your thinking on busy days, and support firmer, more resilient skin without fads, filler claims, or steroid-like risks? Today, we're talking about creatine monohydrate, a compound your body already makes in small amounts, and that decades of research have explored for performance, aging, and brain energy. The goal isn't to never age. That's marketing. The goal is to age well, to walk faster, lift groceries with ease, carry yourself with confidence, think clearly when life is hectic, and feel at home in your skin. I'll explain how creatine fits into that picture, how to use it safely, why women in particular may benefit, and a practical, smart dosing plan you can apply starting this week. Aging changes the body in ways we all feel. By our 40s, many adults have already lost meaningful lean muscle. By our 60s, the typical loss can reach 20 to 30% if we don't actively protect it. That process, sarcopenia, doesn't just affect strength. Muscle is a metabolic organ. It helps regulate glucose, supports hormone balance, stabilizes joints, and underpins posture that literally holds the skin of the face and body in place. When the scaffolding thins, skin can appear looser even if you're at a healthy weight. So while topical care matters, one of the most powerful, overlooked levers for the look and function of aging skin is the quiet daily work of maintaining muscle. Creatine sits right at the intersection of muscle, brain, and energy. Inside your cells, creatine helps rapidly recycle ATP, the currency of short burst energy. In muscle, that means a few more quality reps, better training volume over time, and ultimately more stimulus for strength and lean mass. In the brain, where creatine is also present, the same energy support can translate to better resilience during mentally demanding days, less mental fatigue, and, in some studies, sharper working memory under stress or sleep restriction. None of this replaces sleep, nutrition, or training. It amplifies them. Let's clarify what creatine is and what it isn't. Creatine monohydrate is not a hormone, not a stimulant, and not a steroid. It's a simple molecule found in food sources like meat and fish and synthesized in your liver and kidneys. Supplemental creatine increases your intramuscular and intracerebral creatine stores, which is why consistent daily intake matters more than perfect timing. Among all creatine forms sold, creatine monohydrate remains the most studied, most reliable, and most cost-effective. Fancy salts, buffered versions, ethyl esters, those have never consistently outperformed monohydrate in quality research. Now, why focus so much on women? Two reasons. First, many women eat less total creatine from food because they consume less red meat or follow plant-forward diets. Second, perimenopause and menopause bring shifts in estrogen and progesterone that affect muscle protein turnover, recovery, sleep, and how we experience brain fog. That combination, lower habitual intake plus hormonal change, can make creatine's benefits especially noticeable after 40. If you felt a subtle drop in power during workouts, more difficulty building or keeping muscle, or an increase in vague mental fatigue, creatine is a sensible, studied lever to test alongside strength training and adequate protein. Let's also address common myths clearly. Creatine damages your kidneys. In healthy adults using standard doses, creatine monohydrate has not been shown to harm kidney function. It does increase the breakdown product creatinine, which is measured on labs. That number can rise slightly without representing actual kidney damage. If you have chronic kidney disease or significant risk factors, you must talk with your clinician before starting any supplement, creatine included. Creatine causes hair loss. That worry traces to a small study suggesting a change in DHT, but it wasn't designed to assess hair outcomes and hasn't been replicated in a way that establishes causation. Large bodies of data don't show creatine as a hair loss agent. It makes you puffy. Creatine pulls water into muscle cells, intracellular, where you want it for performance and recovery. Some people feel a transient weight increase the first week or two. In most cases, that settles, and visually it tends to make limbs look fuller and tighter, not bloated. Safety and smart starts matter. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, skip creatine unless your clinician specifically recommends. Now, the dosing. Classic protocols called for a loading phase, 20 grams daily for 5 to 7 days, then 3 to 5 grams daily. You don't need to load. For general health, aging well, and steady performance, I recommend a consistent daily dose of 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. That saturates muscles in a few weeks without the roller coaster. If you prefer to microdose, you can divide the same daily total into small servings across the day, such as 4 1.25-gram portions or 2 to 4 smaller scoops, especially if you've had mild stomach upset taking the full dose at once. Spreading intake can also minimize the initial scale bump that sometimes spooks people into quitting in week 2. Timing is flexible. Morning post-workout or evening all work. Consistency wins. Here's a practical smart dosing plan you can use. Week 1, take 1.25 grams with breakfast and 1.25 grams mid-afternoon, totaling at 2.5 grams per day. Pay attention to how you feel: energy, digestion, sleep. Week 2, increase to 3.75 grams by adding a third of 1.25 grams serving in the evening or after training. Week 3 and beyond, move to a steady 5 grams daily, either as one 5-gram dose or split it as 4 1.25-gram mini doses. If you're training hard or traveling with spotty sleep, it's reasonable to bump to 6 to 7.5 grams for a day or two. There's no need to cycle off. If you stop, muscle creatine stores gradually return to baseline over several weeks. What about form? Powder versus gummies? Choose what you'll actually take every day. Powder is inexpensive and easy to weigh precisely. Some people prefer bite-sized servings they can split throughout the day. That's fine if the math works out to your total daily target and the product uses creatine monohydrate with minimal added sugars. For the brain energy effect, splitting doses during the day is reasonable since the brain benefits from steady availability. But again, the most important factor is total daily intake over time. If you're thinking about skin, let's be honest about mechanisms. There isn't a magic tightening effect from creatine directly on skin in humans. The visible improvements people report, firmer arms, better jawline, less crepey appearance on the thighs or abdomen, are mostly explained by two things: more muscle volume under the skin and better training quality, leading to modest recomposition over months. Intracellular water shift inside muscle also contributes to a fuller, less deflated look. That's why creatine belongs in a larger lifestyle plan that includes protein targets, progressive resistance training, and daily movement. If you want your face and body to look more supported, the most powerful topical you can apply is a dumbbell you pick up 3 times a week. Let's outline a complete protocol you can adopt safely. First, baseline habits. Aim for at least 2, ideally 3, full body strength sessions per week. Push, pull, hinge, squat, and carry patterns. Keep a log. Progressive overload matters. Hit 1.0 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day as a general target for adults over 50, adjusted to your medical context. Walk daily. Prioritize sleep. 40% of your training gains are decided in bed. Second, creatine intake. Start with the step-up plan we covered, landing at 5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily, split or not based on preference. Third, hydration and electrolytes. You don't need exotic blends, but you do need enough fluid and sodium/potassium, especially if you sweat or train in heat. Fourth, monitor. Who should be cautious or skip it? Anyone with known kidney disease or on medications that stress the kidneys should get individualized clearance. If you've had recurrent kidney stones, discuss with your clinician. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, avoid unless advised otherwise. Adolescents can benefit in athletic contexts under professional guidance, but that's a separate conversation. If you experience unusual cramping, persistent GI upset, or any new symptoms, pause and reassess with a professional. There's also a brain health angle worth underscoring. As we age, protecting cognitive reserve is as important as protecting bone. While creatine isn't a treatment for neurological disease, several studies show improved cognitive performance under stress, in sleep deprivation, in rapid information processing, and in tasks that hit working memory hard. If you're in a season of life with frequent early mornings, caregiving, or demanding deadlines, that steadying effect can be meaningful. Again, and we're not chasing a stimulant buzz. Think of it as more consistent access to your own best baseline. How does creatine play with other habits? It stacks well with caffeine if you tolerate coffee or tea. It complements protein timing after workouts. It doesn't require insulin spikes to work. Take it with or without food. If you're already taking a high-quality multi-nutrient electrolyte mix because you sweat heavily or train in heat, that's compatible, but not required for creatine to be effective. Red light therapy, walking, and resistance training are lifestyle pillars that round out the picture. Not magic, but cumulative. Let's put it all together in a simple weekly rhythm. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, perform a strength session that covers upper and lower body basics. On those days, take your creatine either post-workout as 1 5-gram serving or split into 2 to 4 microservings across the day. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, prioritize brisk walking and core stability. Keep creatine steady at the same daily dose. Sunday, move gently, hydrate, and sleep early. Each week, add a small progression, an extra set, a few pounds more, or 2 more reps. Progress is the signal your muscles need. Keep your protein target, vegetables, and fiber consistent. In 8 weeks, reassess strength numbers, how your clothes fit, your energy across the workday, and whether that subtle crepey look on the arms or thighs has softened as the scaffolding underneath becomes more supportive. A quick note on lab conversations with your doctor. If you begin creatine and your standard metabolic panel later shows a higher creatinine, don't panic. That number reflects both kidney filtration and creatine metabolism. If you're otherwise healthy and asymptomatic, a clinician may use additional tests, cystatin C or a broader view of EGFR, to interpret kidney function more accurately. Transparency is key. Bring your supplement list to appointments. Finally, remember the mindset. Supplements should be boringly consistent, not dramatic. Creatine won't replace training, protein, sleep, or medical care, and it shouldn't be marketed as a cure-all. But among all supplements proposed for aging well, creatine monohydrate is one of the few with robust evidence for strength, lean mass, training quality, and cognitive resilience under stress. For many women, especially after 40, and especially those eating less meat or navigating perimenopause, it's a small daily habit with outsized compounding returns. If you decide to start, choose a reputable creatine monohydrate, aim for a steady 3 to 5 grams a day. Consider microdosing if your stomach is sensitive. Lift at least twice a week. Drink water. Sleep like it matters, because it does, and give it 8 to 12 weeks of honest consistency. You're not turning back the clock. You're investing in the version of you who will thank you for moving, thinking, and feeling better next season, next year, and, if we're disciplined, decades from now. And that's the real glow people notice. Strength you can see, energy you can feel, and confidence that lasts.